Increasingly, consumers have been pressuring companies that sell wood products for products that originate from ecologically sustainable timber operations. In response to the growing demand, some of the world's largest retailers, such as Home Depot and IKEA, have announced that they will switch to eco-certified lumber. Home Depot is one of the largest retailers of lumber products in North America. Worldwide, the demand for eco-certified wood is on the rise, from 1% in 1997 to 10% today. In fact, demand exceeds supply. Not far from the Sayward Forest is Forbidden Plateau and Al Hawkwood's woodlot, 348 acres in size. This is one of the first operations to carry the Forest Stewardship Council's eco-certification stamp of approval. The Forest Stewardship Council, or FSC, has developed a set of principles and systems for forest management that are endorsed by Greenpeace, the only eco-certification system to be endorsed by the global organization.
Well, after a few years of efforts and whatnot, we got the woodlot license here certified by the Forest Stewardship Council and the Silva Forest Foundation. This just happened in March of this year. And that was, the idea there is that I wanted to measure our performance and our way of managing a forest with objective and worldwide standards, and that's what the FSC has in place. I also wanted to learn some stuff and develop a better system of harvesting and managing the forest, and you certainly get that in spades with the certification process because the people that come out here, they're experts, specialists. They pick apart everything that you do. They make you justify everything you do. So you learn a lot and you learn how to do it better. Bob Woods, he's been a big influence on me. I've known Bob for 25 years now. Bob spent a lot of time with me. He's really been very gentle and very patient with me, and he's come up to this forest a lot. He's introduced me to a lot of concepts like putting in the small forwarder and tractor trails throughout the area so that you can go back any time and pick a tree up here or a tree up there without causing major disturbance. He's contract logged in here. He did the first logging for me as a contractor in here. And it's his system and his equipment types that we used here. His son actually did the falling for me. Couldn't have got a better guy to do it. He's been brought up with this type of thinking, and he knows how to run the equipment as well as do the falling. And so it was a great benefit to have a guy like Bob introduce me to a lot of this stuff, and to have his son around when we actually did the harvesting. What we had here in the early part of the century was a really nice old growth stand of Douglas fir with a bunch of large cedar in amongst, and that forest was harvested by railway logging operations in about the late teens, early 20s of this century. There was a lot of slash left behind, and there was a slash fire, a wildfire that escaped and burnt the area down around 1925. And this stand came up afterwards. It's a natural stand that has never been managed in any way. And basically what we have here is we have an overstory of Douglas fir that came in first after the fire, and then an understory of western red cedar, which likes to spend its early years as an understory crop and gets kind of nursed along with the Douglas fir. And eventually, as the fir dies out or is attacked by disease or insects or wind throw, the cedar then takes over, and you end up over a period of time with that same type of stand again, large fir and large cedars mixed. This particular site here, this is the kind of cedar understory that I want to protect. This tree right now would make a pulp log or a very small saw log, wouldn't be worth very much at all. Whereas if I can let it grow to be a pole or a full-sized standard saw log, it's worth a heck of a lot of money. And I can't compete with the major companies in producing pulp logs or small saw logs. I've got to do something special to make my mark, and so what I'm trying to do is grow big Douglas fir, real big ones, and really good cedar.
How long is it going to take this cedar? Approximately?
Maybe another 50 years. Here we've taken out a large Douglas fir tree, we made some money on that tree, released this cedar, and now it'll start to flourish. And what we're doing basically is accelerating the stand in terms of its old growth attributes. We're increasing the speed with which the stand becomes what it was when they logged in the early part of the century. Well, one of the other features of this, I guess, is that you're always going to have a forest cover here. You're going to have a stand here forever. That's the idea. We're going to designate at least 10% of the trees that are here now, and they'll be designated as FullCycle trees. In other words, they'll be here forever if we can figure out a way to covenant them or whatever. There's going to be a minimum of 10% that will be designated that way, and they will be called FullCycle trees. In other words, they'll be left to grow up, die, fall down, and become coarse-woody debris again. They'll produce the snags that you find in normal old-growth forests that you need for wildlife habitat. And without snags, you don't have woodpeckers. Without woodpeckers, you don't have secondary nesters. And without snags, you don't have ants and whatnot for the bears to eat. It's just the full cycle of things, and you don't get that in a clear cut. We're in an adjoining clear cut. This is basic industrial forestry on private forest lands on Vancouver Island. This is the way things have been done for a long time. They cut everything down and they replant it. It's private land. They're certainly within the law. But in terms of long-term viability in forestry, this kind of thing is not going to work when you're near the suburbs. So the idea here on Woodlot is that we leave a lot of trees standing and we try to enhance wildlife and biodiversity. Recreational potential becomes automatic in those circumstances, and the neighbors and the stakeholders, the interest groups around the valley, they like this approach. Well, one of the other big differences between the sort of standard industrial approach to forestry and what we're trying to do here on the Woodlot and what's going on in a lot of small-scale forestry now is we create jobs. When you do this kind of clear cutting, they use heavily mechanized approaches like single grip harvester, grapple skidder. There's very, very little labor created. In our woodlot, I did a calculation relative to the average in BC, and we produce 3 to up to 5 times the jobs in harvesting as they do in conventional harvesting. This is kind of a culmination of Al Hopwood's progression as a forester. You know, I mean, I started out as the standard industrial forester with herbicides and planting and clear cutting and all that stuff. And over the years, I've worked in different places, and I've made a progression. And this is what I would like to see happen here. I think I can make enough money to be satisfied. I may not absolutely maximize profits in the short term, but I think over the long term, I think I can get just as much profit out of this stand as anybody can, and yet I can keep a continuous set of trees here, and I can work towards an old growth characteristic. So if I can do that, why not do it? I'm not in a panic to maximize all my dollar returns today. I don't need a whole bunch to live on at the moment, and I can still do some consulting and subsidize my income that way. So why not do it the right way? The major companies seem to be looking at certification as a way of maintaining their market share, because the marketplace is now demanding certified wood. From my point of view, I don't have much influence on any markets, so what I was looking for is hopefully some kind of monetary gain, a premium for selling certified timber. I've been working on that since March. I have the buyers. There's a lot of small-scale buyers that will pay a premium. All the way from Oregon to Ontario, they've contacted me, and now my first sale was in May. I sold a small volume of wood to Sarita Furniture. They make outdoor furniture, classic designs out of Port Alberni. I sold them a small amount of wood at a premium, and they're eco-certified themselves, and they're going to try to sell this furniture that they make out of it at a premium as well. So that's what I'm geared up for this year. It's been a slow process. It's a whole new game to do that, especially in small lots, but we're getting there.